Yo YouTubers, how's it going on, homies out there? Don't worry, I haven't got like, I know I look a bit spotty. It's just whenever I have a shower, which is once a month or something. You know, the soap has a kind of reaction in that way. Don't worry, I'm not affected by any illnesses. Right, I've got a bit of a story for you guys. I got reminded today. I was watching a video. I'll get straight into it, right? I was watching a video today about some guy in America who is a Navajo police chief in America, in a reservation, in the Navajo reservation area thing. And he was doing a talk about it. You'll probably find it on YouTube. I can't remember the title of it, but it's like Navajo police chief talks about UFOs and stuff like that, right? And he does a little slideshow, and he was just talking about his experiences. He's like in his 50s or something, a mature Indian fella. And he's worked for the police on the reservation for years, and because of his job he's seen loads of crazy stuff, right? And I thought it was really interesting, like, watching him talk about these things, right? And at one point he starts talking about other people's eyewitness accounts of things they've seen, like anomalies and UFOs and things, right? And then he mentioned this orbs. Someone's seen these glowing orbs on the road, and they can go from like the size of a football to like the size of a truck. They can be huge or small, right? And he said at one point one of them went red, like a red orb, right? And they glow in the dark when they're outside in the night time in the desert. And it reminded me of a story I've got to tell you, where I thought, like, wow, I don't think I've ever talked about it on YouTube. I'm not sure, on the old channel or whatever. I can't remember. I don't think I have. I don't think I've ever spoke about it on YouTube. But as soon as I heard him talking about it, because he was an American Indian, and he was talking about the orbs in particular, like, it reminded me of a story I've got about an orb, which I've never told anyone. I might have told some people, I don't know. And it was really quite an experience for me, like, guys, like a paranormal experience, right? Now remember, bearing in mind, the last video it stopped suddenly because my battery. When your laptop is unplugged and the battery is being used instead of the power supply. And I got right to the end and I was about to say finish up, thanks for watching, all the usual stuff, and then the message come up, battery low, and it went off. But thankfully it recorded the whole speech. I was thinking, oh no, I haven't got to do it all over again, because it was over an hour long, wasn't it, right? Thankfully it was still there, and I would have been saying, like, thanks for watching and wrapping up anyway, because I got to the end, the point I was making about 9/11, the speech, right? But anyway, I did tell you that, like, I was reading all these books about Don Juan and like a lot of things, you know what I mean? And I was getting into this Indian. I was looking into anyone out there ever heard of an Indian chief called Red Cloud? And he was like Sitting Bull's main, ruthless. Well, he must have killed a lot of cowboys or cavalrymen, let's put it that way. Like, he must have been like ruthless, right? He'd make most men cry, you know what I mean? That's the way I see it. Like, he's my favourite human warrior of all time. You've got heroes in films and stuff like that, and bodybuilders and all kinds of crap, you know what I mean, muscle men and all that kind of stuff, but like, Red Cloud to me is the ultimate warrior, like, you know what I mean? I know if I was challenged by a Red Cloud, or I tried to act hard and go like, yeah, let's see what you're made of, Indian, you know what I mean? He'd wipe the floor with me like in seconds, you know what I mean, right? I was actually reading about Red Cloud and stuff like that back in the day when I was studying all the Indian stuff, and I didn't have the internet, I didn't know nothing about things on, you know the way you can just go on the internet and stuff, and I'd looked into, like, you know, the Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee book and things like that, you know. So I knew a little bit about him, like, but I knew he was an amazing warrior, you know what I mean? I was thinking, man, that guy must be, like, tough, you know what I mean? And knowledgeable, not just, like, you know, brawn, you know what I mean? There'd be a bit of brains as well, a lot of wisdom. Stuff we can't even begin to imagine, like, you know what I mean? He's a proper elder, isn't he, you know what I mean? And I was fascinated by Red Cloud, right? And simultaneously I was getting into the stuff about Don Juan, and I was learning quite a bit about these Indians, what they were capable of, and personal power and things like that, right? And anyway, I was kind of like, I kind of got these, like, coded messages, right? You get, like, coded messages, don't you, from Indians? If they're supposed to be deceased, they're supposed to be dead, you know what I mean? But in reality, they're not. They live forever, don't they? You know, proper warriors live forever, don't they? Like, Sitting Bull isn't dead, you know what I mean? I don't think Sitting Bull's dead at all, you know what I mean? I think those proper, like, mind-blown warriors, man, they just live forever, like, in my opinion, you know what I mean? In one form or another, like, I don't know how to explain it, but they just cannot be killed, man, you know what I mean? They might have gone old and died and been buried and things like that, but there's an infinity to it, like, you know, that we don't fully understand, like, and we're just used to our usual routines of soldiers and all that kind of stuff, right? And when I was getting, the more fascinated I was getting with Red Cloud, right, the more I was getting messages, like, it was like Close Encounters, you know what I mean? It was like, be prepared, Bruce, you know what I mean? You know, Red Cloud might show himself to you one day, like, you know, if you think that much of him, like, you know. I was like, what's that all about, you know, because you're in the real world, you you go to the supermarket to buy your food, you know, you go, like, you know, sign on with the dole or get your sick money or whatever. Like, I was in that sort of state of mind. I was a stoner and I was kind of, like, you know, very lethargic and that, like. But I was learning about the way warriors can use personal power and things like that from Don Juan specifically, because there was a lot of tips in there, you know what I mean, a lot of strange things, right? That's another video, I'll go into that, like, if people want to hear it, like, you know what I mean, I'll share my views and that, right, which is quite interesting, right? But the more I was getting fascinated by the Red Cloud thing, the more, I mean, don't get me wrong, with the Don Juan thing, I actually felt like I was on a personal relationship with Don Juan, because I was reading the book. I felt like he was tuning into me on a personal level, and this is the thing about Don Juan, he didn't actually die, did he? If anyone's read the books and that, like, he didn't actually die like a normal person. He stepped into, it's called the Nagual, he stepped into this, like, another reality and just disappeared. And the writer, Carlos Castaneda, never saw him ever again, did he? It wasn't like a usual book where you go, like, and we said goodbye and all that, like, he just disappears. And he's telling him before it actually happens, I'm going to walk in, I'm not going to die, I'm going to step into the Nagual, you know, as a warrior, like, and, you know, he lived alone, he was in the middle of nowhere, you know. But I was starting to get into all those things and think, wow, this is getting fascinating, like, this is not like your usual, like, martial arts and things. This is kind of, it is like an X-File, it's unexplainable, some of the Indian things, right? And I was getting into me rocks, especially turquoise and stuff, you know, I've got a really good understanding for the stone turquoise, right, guys, you know. So I was onto that frequency, right? And then I was getting these, like, messages, like, you know, be prepared, man, you know, Red Cloud might meet you one day, like, you know what I mean? I was thinking, how's that possible? Like, you know, standing in the supermarket, like, some Indian chief walks up to me, like, with a headdress on and everything, with the eagle feathers on, like, going, Aah! I was like, how's that possible? Because I'm not going to America. I wasn't, like, you know, some people travel there, don't they, like, on a anthropological study and everything, like. And the other thing I was learning, like, from Don Juan, there's this entity, right, which Don Juan calls the Dark Ally, right. The Dark Ally, it's called, you know, ally as in friend, as in something you can relate to, right. And it was, when I was reading about it, I was kind of thinking, I don't understand this, it's a bit far-fetched, that, like. Later on down the line, through my magic mushroom experiences and things, which is like, Our British magic mushrooms, guys, they're quite hard to deal with. They're not like the American. I've had Ecuadorian magic mushrooms which I grew myself, and they were easy in comparison to British mushrooms, right? I've had some pretty horrific experiences on magic mushrooms. You know what I mean? Like where I thought I was never going to survive, right? And the thing is like Don Juan, when I was reading the Don Juan books, he was telling Carlos Castaneda that when you take magic mushrooms, you know, the psilocybin, right, which is it was Mexicana psilocybin, what he was specialising in, right. He was saying things to Carlos Castaneda like, you might die on this trip, you might die on this journey, you know what I mean? You've got to be like prepared for it, like. And when I was reading that, right, I was thinking like, look man, you can drop a mushy trip, right, and you can have a bad experience, yeah man, but you can't die, you know what I mean? You can't just die on a mushroom trip, you know what I mean? Until I actually died myself on mushrooms and thought, oh my word. No, because you expect the trip to be like a nice experience nearly every time, don't you? You know what I mean? But I put myself through some horrible things, right? But anyway, I was getting into that understanding then. I was starting to see mushrooms as more of a serious issue, you know what I mean? It wasn't like just having fun and recreation or tripping out, like, you know what I mean? I was preparing my mind for it and everything, right? But there was this build-up of like, the more I read about Red Cloud and the more I seen information about him or documentaries and stuff, like, I was thinking, wow, he is something else, man. He's like, he outfoxed General Custer, didn't he? He would have been one of the Indians that was skinning all them men at their Little Bighorn, you know, at the end of Little Bighorn. Have you ever seen the photographs of Little Bighorn, guys, after the battle? You know, in the movies, in the Hollywood movies, it's like, you see like dead cavalrymen lying there with all the uniforms on and that, like, don't you, you know what I mean? Like, and then like the Indians ride off and that, like in the movies. The actual real thing was like, it wouldn't have been put in a film because it would have been too controversial, triple X, violent. You know, they stripped the bodies like into like bones. They just left nothing but bones everywhere. They took the meat and they would have probably ate the meat or something, I don't know. It was like devastation. There's nothing left. All the horses were skinned and everything was gone. Just loads of bones, like proper raw bones, like everywhere. If you look at real photographs, right? Now, and you know that Red Cloud, right, the Chief Red Cloud would have been right in the midst of all that. He was like the leader of all that tactics and whatever they did to the cavalryman and Custard and all that, like, you know what I mean? Like, to like, I'm telling you, mate, none of the films ever show it as it actually was, do they? You know what I mean? It'd have been too X certificate, man. It'd been like a horrific, basically, right? But anyway, I was getting these things thinking like, you know, you're going to encounter Red Cloud, you know what I mean? It's going to blow your mind, man, you know what I mean? I was thinking, yeah, right, whatever, like, you know, don't get me wrong, I don't mean I was in denial that it might blow my mind. I mean, like, I'm living in a council house in Whittle, you know, in Merseyside. How am I ever going to encounter Red Cloud, man? Right. And the Dark Ally was something that, like, when I eventually sort of got to know what the Dark Ally was about, it wasn't anything, you know, some people might say, oh, you're dealing with sorcery and things like that. No, it was the Dark Ally was like an entity that was, like, with the Indians, obviously. And it gives them some help, you know what I mean? I'm not going to go into that at the moment, like, that's something else, right? But anyway, here's my experience, man, what I'm talking about, right? I was unprepared. There was no, like, you know, tonight you're going to see Red Cloud or have an experience like or anything like that. There was nothing like that, right? And I used to smoke weed and think like, wow, tune into Red Cloud, like, you know, and I didn't really get much, like, you know, I used to get like good, like, well, like, I have a lot of powerful visions, let's put it that way, like, you know what I mean? And this was before my biblical visions, guys. This was nothing to do with what I call my biblical experiences, because that became later. I still hadn't read the Bible when all this was going on, and I still wasn't too sure if there really was a God, if you know what I mean, right? But I was burying my head in all this Indian stuff, right? I was loving it, right? And anyway, one night I had I don't believe I was stoned, I don't believe I was drunk, I hadn't had a drink or nothing. It was just a normal everyday night ride, I think, as far as I know, if I can remember correctly. And anyway, and I want people to tell me if they watch this, like if they've had any similar experiences, right? Has anyone ever experienced this experience, right? Speaking of orbs, right, you know, like what was talking about earlier, the Navajo police Indian from the reservation describing these orbs that have been seen, right? Well, I was in the living room watching television or whatever with my mum and dad as usual, like, you know what I mean, right? Just casual, not even thinking of Indian stuff or anything, like. And I got up and I was like, I needed to go to the toilet for a piss, right, for the wee. And I went up the stairs, right, to the toilet, like. And back then at the time, like, you know, the toilet was like in front of me. And behind me there was an ottoman, you know, it's like an ottoman is like a sort of like a wooden box with the lid on, and the lid's got like a chair on it, like, you know what I mean? Like you lift the chair up and it's like a box that you can put like blankets in or whatever, you know what I mean? This ottoman, that's how I remember, like at the time the ottoman was opposite the toilet, right, with an ashtray on it that my mum and dad used to use if they were smoking in the toilet, right. This glass ashtray was on the ottoman opposite the toilet, which when I was standing having a wee, that was behind me, that ottoman, like with the ashtray on it, right. And I was standing up having a wee, just having a piddle, like standing there going psst, right. And to the left of the toilet is a bath, you know, a bathtub, right, which obviously was empty, just a normal bathtub, right, you know. And I was just casually had the light on or whatever in the toilet, right, and I was just like, just having a piss, you know what I mean, and I just about finished me wee, right, and just about like managed to like put, you know, Wicked Willie back in its place, like, and zip up. I just had time to zip up, right. I was like, yeah. The next thing I noticed in the corner just above the bath where the taps were, like, you know, at the end of the bath in the corner, I looked and I could see like a red orb, right, a red orb that was like about that big, about the size, like it looked like a ball, right, with these weird patterns in it, right. I'm not sure if they were like Celtic patterns, but they had this weird like weave, like it was like transparent, about that big, and it was above the bathtub, right. And at first it was really faint, and the more I looked at it, it started getting a little bit more vivid, and it was like kind of doing that on, you know, just levitating above the bathtub, right, just doing that, like this weird thing like that. And like I say, I just finished zipping my kecks up, right, zipping my pants up, right, and I was looking at it thinking, I know sometimes you think your eyes are playing tricks with you, or you're hallucinating or something, right. I was like, is that a ball there floating there, like? And it was like that, right, and it sort of got a little bit more vivid and became a little bit more like, it was still see-through, it was still like transparent, and it got a little bit more vivid, like a ball, right. And then without any expectation, without any warning, nothing, it just went like woof into my chest, right, like this high speed. It just flew. All I remember is seeing it coming at me, like going into my chest, man, right. And I went, it hit me that hard. The force actually hit me so hard, right. I went back against the wall. I'm like just whacked into the ottoman that was behind me, and the ashtray actually smashed in half with the force. I landed on this like glass, you know, a glass ashtray that went like and broke in two pieces. The force was so strong, right. I've never had anything like that since before, or you know, it's never ever happened to me ever again, right. It knocked me out, right, it hit me in the chest, and I just remember feeling the full force of like something going like boom, like into my chest, like with like massive pain, right. I went I slid down the wall, like hit the ottoman, like, and then I remember just like it knocked me right to the ground, like, guys, you know what I mean? I just hit the deck and I was like on the floor like that, like leaning against the ottoman. I was actually, my ass was on the floor kind of thing. The toilet was in front of me, right? I mean, I don't even know if I told any of my family about this, you know what I mean? My mum and dad were like oblivious watching the telly, obviously, downstairs. They didn't hear, I don't know if they heard it or anything, like, you know, right? And I was like, all I remember is lying up, like, on the floor, helpless, like, with no strength in me whatsoever, man. I couldn't even move, right? I was paralysed, right? And for a few seconds, I don't know whether it was a few seconds or a few minutes or half an hour, I blacked out, man, you know what I mean? I just completely blacked out, right? So I was like, on the floor, like, right. And then I remember going into like a kind of like a, I don't know, like a dream state, right, where I don't remember seeing anything at all. I remember like blacking out. I was like thinking, oh, I'm dying here, man, I'm just going to die, like, on the floor in the toilet, like. So I was like that, like, and then I remember blacking out for a while. I don't know how long it was. It could have been an hour, it could have been 15 minutes. I don't even know, like. And then I remember actually sort of like coming back like into consciousness and opening my eyes and going, what's that? What's happening, man? I looked at the toilet was in front of me and I was like, oh yeah. I was having a wee, like, and I'm looking up at the bathroom window and the sink and everything in front of me, like. And I thought, oh man, I better get up and go and lie down and that, like. And I got up like that, I sort of moved and I turned around and the ashtray that was like behind me sort of fell onto the floor and I looked and I was like feeling, oh man, I broke the ashtray in half, man, it's actually smashed in half. I didn't realise it when it actually happened. It was like afterwards when I came round that the ashtray had smashed in half, like. And I got up off the deck, like, I was like, and I couldn't even stand up basically without like really, you know, using my energy. It was like, what? I was like drained. There was no energy in me at all. I stood up like I managed to stand up, right, and if I opened the bathroom door and then literally I could have just fell down like completely weak, you know, helplessly weak. I was helpless, right. I managed to open the bathroom door and like my bedroom door was just like yards, like just about 2-3 yards away from where it was, right, and it was like, you know, if you like the bathroom door's there and there was like a wall, you know, I had to get from like through this door and there's a wall there and then my door was there, you know what I mean, for my bedroom, and I was just like, get to the bedroom, and it was that weak, right. Even the walk from the toilet door to my bedroom, which was just a step away, I had to lean on the wall like that. I was actually like, my arm was like leaning against the wall, like sort of going, I couldn't stand up, like. I was like sort of like sliding against the wall into the bedroom, right. I managed to open the bedroom door, right, and close it behind me. Couldn't turn the light, I didn't even have energy to turn the light on, I couldn't even have energy to do that, like, it was sort of like, the bed. I just like fell onto my bed, like, I was like, whoa. And I was still weak, do you understand? I was still absolutely weak, you know what I mean? And I was lying on the bed in complete darkness thinking, what just happened to me there? And I could remember the ball, you know what I mean? I was like thinking, there was a little ball in the corner, it was just a little red ball, you know what I mean? Right, and I was like, oh man, what's happened to me? And then next to the bed, I could feel a presence next to the bed, right, standing next to me. I couldn't see it, right, I couldn't see nothing. I just knew something was standing next to my bed, like standing looking down at me over the bed, right. And then I heard this noise of like going, like, you know, rattling bones. That's the only the way I can describe it, like, you know, like a xylophone almost, like it almost had a musical note going like I could hear these like rattling bones, man, right. Boom. And then, I don't know, it could have been someone impersonating, it could have been someone pretending, it could have been the Dark Ally, I don't know, like, but to my impression it went like, it was like, I heard this kind of ESP signal go, I'm sorry Bruce, you know, I had to do that, like, that's the only way I can show you that, just how powerful I am, like, you know, as a warrior kind of thing, right. So I was like, what do you mean? like sort of lying. I was still kind of like lifeless, you know what I mean? I thought I was dying, like. And it was like, it's me, it's Red Cloud. That's what it's at. That's what I was out. It could have been someone impersonating him. It could have been someone pretending. I don't know, right? But it was like, it's me, it's Red Cloud, Bruce, and that's my first, like, I need to show you what you're dealing with here with people like me, you know what I mean? We're not just like in the movies, like, woo, you know, firing arrows and that, like, they've got the ability to kill people, man, you know, with like, but he was doing, you know, like martial artists beat each other up, don't they? You know, when, if you join a karate club or you join a martial arts club, right, or, you know, say if you were in Steven Seagal's, you know, when Steven Seagal used to teach and instruct people, he'd like bitch slap women and everything, wouldn't he, as part of the training, and they'd be like, yeah, right, master, right, sensei, whatever, like, you know, you can't go into them realms and not get a kick or be beaten up, right? And it was like the message from this spirit was going like, it's the only way I can show you, Bruce, that like, you know, we are like a lot more than what people think, you know what I mean? There's a lot more to this than just like, you know, using weapons and stuff, like. And I was like, did you like just knock me out? You know, I wasn't talking with my mouth. I was like, he was saying everything to me with thoughts, you know what I mean? And I just know he was in my room next to the bed, like, I know he was standing over the bed, like I would say. And it was his first lesson, it was his first introduction. It could have been a demon, it could have been someone impersonating him, I don't know. There's no way I can actually confirm what, like, but I reckon it was Red Cloud. I reckon he was showing me something, like, you know, and it took me a while to, right, and then when he left, he just said that to me. He said, like, basically he's going, but I'm in your world now, Bruce, I've entered your world and I wanted you to know that, he's like, he was saying that you're not my enemy, I don't dislike you, I didn't do that because you've done something wrong or I don't like you, and I've like, but it's the only way I can enter into your world, you know, without me going to America or whatever, like, do you know what I mean? I was like, okay, yeah, man. He's like, you know, I know you'll understand and you won't have a hard feeling about it, like, it like literally knocked me unconscious, do you know what I mean, right? And I was like, cool, man, you know, whatever, like, and he was like, and then he said to me, like, now if I can show you that, Bruce, right, if I can show you that, like, and you're not my enemy, imagine what I can do to like, say, people who are like bad to the Indians or enemies of the Indians, you know, people who are fascist, or, you know, those like rednecks or whatever that just hate Indians and stuff like that, like, you know what I mean? That's what he was basically teaching me. He's going, just imagine what I can do to my enemies, man, you know. But he was a kind of ghost. He was a kind. Well, obviously there was no physical form in the room. It was like, it was a ghost basically, right? Just there turning the TV over. It's wrecking the head. Right. So, and then, right. Then, when he'd made it known to me that I was thinking, you know, I was convinced, I was thinking that had to be Red Cloud, like, but he's not just a man. He's some kind of, like, he's got the ability to be some kind of monster. I was frightened of it, like, you know what I mean? I was like, I didn't expect that, like, I expected like a man, like, so, like, walking around with feathers, like, you know what I mean? I didn't expect this monster. Right? And then when he went, okay, so you're okay with that, like, I didn't mean to hurt you, like, you know what I mean? It was just the time and the place. It's just totally unexpected, like, right? And then when he was fading away, when he was leaving, I heard them bones again going very distinct, like, you know, it was like, you know them, what do you call them, what are they called, the things that hang outside, chimes, you know, when people make chimes and they hang them outside the houses and they've got like little bits of stone, or like this, actually, this is a good one, like, this, the noise of these, man, you're right, you know, this stuff, the stuff they make arrows with, this stuff, you see, it's transparent as well, like, you know, obsidian, right. There's one thing I noticed about this stuff, listen to the sound it makes, you probably can hear it on this, like, It's got a lovely, like, you know, if that was hanging in in one of those wind chimes, that's the sound it was like. You know, the noise that makes it. You know, I've got 3 of them there, like, in case I have to go hunting, like. I must go and hunt for buffalo. But that's the best nearest I can describe to the noise. Obsidian arrows, man. Obsidian arrowheads. And then the chimey noise faded. It was like, and then I knew it was gone. I was like thinking, it's gone. And then I was like, I don't know whether I stayed on my bed and fell asleep. I can't remember whether I managed to recover. I recovered slowly but surely. I felt all my energy coming back, right? That ball, that red ball, just took everything out of me, guys. It was like, I was like weak as a baby. I was helpless. And then I was thinking, man, imagine what it must be like if you're one of those guys, one of those western guys, those cowboy cavalry type people, and you hated the Indians. Imagine the stuff they must have done to them people, man. Do you know what I mean? Especially someone like that, like, you know. So anyway, that's me little story for you folks. I just thought, the reason that's what I wanted to, I just thought today, like when that guy was talking about orbs, man, I was like, man, don't go anywhere near them things, mate. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, what? I think it was the ghost of Red Cloud, you know what I mean? And I paid homage to him, like I've done, like I had a song called Torn in Two that was on the old channel. Well, it was on this channel actually, but I took it down because it wasn't getting enough views. People weren't paying much attention to it, right? And there were certain things in the video, like I didn't want people to see, and I thought I could put it up again, you know, the same song, I could put it up again. It's called Torn in Two, but it was about people selling out over drugs and things, you know, the way today people sell out over, like, you know, cocaine and stuff like that, you know. I don't mean like people doing recreation or whatever, I mean like people selling out on their own wives, husbands, kids, whatever, because they put cocaine above them, like, you know. It's a song about that basically. But in the middle of the video, right, I put pictures of Chief Red Cloud on his horse, or all the best photographs I could find of Red Cloud. You know, when I put a lead, you know, when I done the lead solo in the middle, like, that was the best way I could say, like, wow, I think this guy's the ultimate. I was put one of my lead solos, this dead catchy tune, like, with images of Red Cloud, right? And then pictures in, like, sort of like, in contrast to, like, General Custer looking like a knobhead, you know, standing there with his uniform or like that, like, you know what I mean? Like, sort of, you know, because they do look pathetic in comparison, you know what I mean? I think they just look pathetic, like, you know. So I did pay homage in music and everything after that experience. I was like, wow, I'll never forget that, like, you know what I mean? What that Indian's capable of there, mate. Something I'd never have expected in a million years. The force knocked me down, man, like, with it, like a stronger than any punch I've had. I've been knocked out, man, you know, and I'll be like people dig me, like knock me off my feet, like, you know what I mean? And like, felt like, I got up straight away, you know what I mean? I got up straight away and thought, wow, what was that for? Like, why did you just punch me, man, you know what I mean? I couldn't get up after that Red Cloud thing. I literally had to struggle to get into my bed, you know, but I could be wrong. It could have been a demon. It was that powerful, you know what I mean? But I think Indians, if they've been hard done to, right, if they're the underdogs and they've had a hard time, or they've been chased by a load of stupid soldiers or whatever, like, they're just going to kick ass, aren't they? They've got the right to be like mean and devastating, like, in my opinion, you know what I mean? It's like, so anyone out there, man, who's watching this, if you hate Indians or you've got any like sort of dislike towards them and you think they're just like little savages, tribe, and when they don't know nothing, primitive songs and all that kind of stuff, you've got to watch your step, you know, guys, because you could get one of them balls just knock you out anytime, you know what I mean? I'm telling you, you know what I mean? Don't do anything dangerous. Don't go tightrope walking when you hate Indians, I'm telling you, you know. Alright, it's just a quick speech anyway, 34 minutes. I thought I'd share that one, like, if anyone's interested, like, but that's the kind that's the kind of power we're up against if you go against Indians and tribesmen and stuff like that. And I think the same goes for Zulus, Aborigines, you know what I mean? I'm always with the underdogs, me, man, you know. I never give them stick, you know what I mean? I you know, warrior people, whatever. People just take movies literally, don't they, and think that that's all it is, you know what I mean? They don't realise the reality, like, you know. Alright. So the general Custer's watching, like, you know, out there in a Freemasonic 33rd degree level or whatever, still alive in somewhere or like, you know. You're not safe, you know. You're not safe anywhere, man. Alright, folks. Hope you enjoyed it, but comments below, please, if anyone's had a similar experience, if that's at all possible, like, please tell me, like, I'd be very interested to know. Have you ever been knocked out by an orb and like rendered helplessly weak? You know what I mean? It's the most powerful thing I've ever experienced. That was, I assume he was a human being, Red Cloud. He wasn't an alien or nothing, like, you know. I don't know. Powerful stuff, man. Alright, thanks for watching. Sorry about the noise of the computer, you know, the sound. I can't do anything about that, but this is my favourite way of uploading videos at the moment. So yeah, thanks for watching. More videos coming up, some interesting stuff about Don Juan. If you're interested. Alright, thanks for watching, folks. Cheerio. Bye.